Here we go.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the Warlock in Phase 2 and the best specs to be running for DPS and tank, and we'll go pretty in-depth about it. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and we'll just jump right into it. So Warlock in Phase 2 is going to get really good. We don't know a lot about what runes are going to come out for the Warlock as of yet, so I'm just going to go off of what we already have for now. So let's go ahead and talk about tanking to begin with. Runes for tanking. Master Channeler is going to kind of fall off towards the end of Phase 2 for the Nomerigan raid because there are so many mechanicals that this may not be the best rune to run for the Nomerigan raid. Demonic Tactics is probably going to be a better bet for that one. As far as legs, Incinerate is still really good. Demonic Grace is still really good. As far as your gloves, well, you're locked into Metamorphosis. So that's your tanking runes for Phase 2. For DPS, we all know that Fire Spec is probably going to do better in Phase 2 than Affliction. So you're probably going to want to run Chaos Bolt or Shadow Bolt Volley, and depending on what kind of pull you're going to do, Chaos Bolt more for the bosses, Shadow Bolt for trash where you're getting bigger packs. Incinerate is going to be probably the best one you've got, and I don't have it, but there is Lake of Fire, which may also end up being a really good rune for tanking, but yeah, I haven't bothered to go get it on this character yet. So those are probably going to be the best DPS runes as well. So let's go into the build that you're going to want to use. So let's go over tanking first, because I really like Warlock tanking, and it's going to be, you know, the main thing I'm going to be doing in Phase 2. So 5 out of 5 Demonic Embrace, of course, improved Void Walker, improved Health Stone, and yes, I am going into the Demonology tree. I'm going full into the Demonology tree for Phase 2, because Demonology, to me, the best spec for tanking in Phase 1 was Demonology, and nobody really wanted to listen to me. Well, that was at Demonology's worst point. I still considered it better than Affliction or Destruction for tanking. So in Phase 2, when you can get all the way down to Soul Link, it's going to be way better. So next up, we're taking Fell Domination, 4 points in Fell Stamina, 2 points in Master Summoner, so you can sacrifice your Void Walker and immediately resummon your Void Walker. So that's going to be a great thing. You're gonna want to have all 5 points in Unholy Power to unlock Master Demonologist, definitely. Demonic Sacrifice. Now, I said that about the about Unholy Power. You're gonna want to do it. Yes, it does increase damage done by your pets, but that's really, you know, kind of secondary at best. Now, we're gonna have to look at Firestones to see if we want to put the points in here, which may be a possibility, but we'll see when we get to Phase 2 if that's going to end up being better. For now, I would go ahead and put another point in Fell Stamina, and then at this point, you've got a few choices. You could put them into the succubus, making their seduction last longer. Me personally, I think I will put it in the improved imp. I mean, it's just 1 point that you're going to be putting in. It's not going to be that big of a difference. If Firestone turns out to be really good for us, and we'll have to wait to see, I think, then I would put the point there. But 5 points in Master Demonologist, definitely. So you're taking this because while you have the Void Walker out, it reduces physical damage taken by 10%. So pretty much, and all the time, 10% physical damage reduction on top of everything you're getting from being in Metamorphosis. Then we're going to take Soul Link. That's going to put us at level 40. So when active, 30% of all damage taken by the caster is taken by your pet. In addition, both the demon and master will inflict 3% more damage as long as you have a demon active. So right here we've got a 30% damage reduction going to our Void Walker automatically, and right here we have a 10% damage, physical damage taken reduction from Master Demonologist. So Warlock tanks in Phase 2 are going to be really good at damage mitigation. And this is before you even get into sacrificing your Void Walkers and having that damage shield. So I'm really looking forward to this. Also, due to the fact that there are so many mechanicals in No Merrigan, Affliction, which really is going to only buff your shadow damage, is going to be pretty useless for Phase 2. Sorry, hate to break it to you, all you guys that just really loved having the instant corruption for tanking and all that. It just isn't going to be good. That's going to negate completely your drain life and your siphon life that you would get from Affliction. So Affliction's going to be hurting in Phase 2 pretty bad. Now, you might could get away with destruction tanking, but honestly, our threat is not a problem, you know, so why would you build into more threat when you're not having a threat problem already? Like, get the damage mitigation, make yourself stay alive a lot easier, be decent to your healers, right? So that's the tanking spec that you're going to want to use for No Merrigan, right? And Phase 2 is going to be great for Warlock tanks because one thing we were denied in Phase 1, and I still hate Blizzard for this, is that we didn't get the option to tank dungeons while we were leveling. You know, by the time you get the Metamorphosis rune, you were basically 25. You might get it a little early, but you'd have to be carried to get it early. So I'm really looking forward to tanking my way to level 40, and yeah, just really looking forward to it. So now let's talk about the DPS specs. I already said, you know, I think Affliction's going to have a lot of problems. I'm just not that excited by Affliction in Phase 2, especially with No Merrigan being the raid. So Affliction for PvP, yes, hell yes, but you know, it's not going to yeah, not going to be great for raiding, I don't think. So for a DPS spec, I'm going to go with improved Shadow Bolt. Then you're gonna want Bane, definitely. Reduce the cast time of your Shadow Bolt and Immolate. That's always great. Down here you've got Devastation. That's 5% critical strike chance for your destruction spells. That's going to be really good. Now, the improved Searing Pain is not going to be worth taking, really. You just don't get enough damage out of it. So we're going to go with Destructive Reach to get the increased range. We're going to go with Intensity. Well, you know, just for a pure DPS spec, I think I might skip Intensity and Pyroclasm. These two talents will be amazing if you are trying to AoE level with the Warlock, and yes, that is a thing once you get Hellfire. Honestly, the 25% chance to stun the target, and then you can, I just don't think it'll be worth it for raiding though. So what we're going to do, we're going to put 3 into Cataclysm at this point. Then we're definitely taking Ruin, which is going to make your crits hit a lot harder. Improved Immolate is, you know, okay. Go ahead and take all of them. Conflagrate, I do not care about all that much, so I would just take 5 out of 5 in Ember Storm. That's gonna hit you level 40. Now I know I'm missing Shadow Burn and Conflagrate, but honestly those spells just, I don't feel like they add enough to Destruction Warlock at this point to make it worth it to put those 2 points in. Definitely going into phase 3, I would say pick those up, but just for rating purposes, this is really what I would go with. There is as far as I can see, this is going to be the best. I've been trying to mess around with an Affliction, or with a Demonology spec. I haven't really found anything that works, so it would just go like something like and you go to Demonic Sacrifice, and that's it. You would sacrifice either your Imp or your Succubus, depending on what you're doing. If you're going into Nomerigan, I would say sacrifice the Imp for the fire damage, and then start going into Destruction. But you just really don't have enough points here to make it worth it. Yeah, see, now this later on at level 60, this is probably going to be a thing, but it'll be a choice of whether you want to go to Ruin or over to Siphon Life at that point. But we just aren't going to have enough points for a real good hybrid build, in my opinion. There's really nothing in the Demonology tree in the first, 10 points that would make it worth it to stop at Ruin in the Destruction tree. So I'm gonna say that the just staying in one tree is gonna be better on phase 2. So that's yeah, that's going to be interesting. But either way, let's talk about gear. I highly advise you to get into Black Fathom at this point and be picking up gear from Black Fathom depths, because if you look through, you can look through Atlas loot, right, and be looking at some of the dungeons coming up. You've got Stockade, Razorfin Crawl, Scarlet Monastery. But even in Scarlet Monastery, there is nothing in these dungeons that is anywhere near as good as the loot you get out of Black Fathom Depths right now. So all the gear in all of these dungeons is completely negated. You're better off picking up the stuff in Black Fathom now, and that will carry you all the way into the Nomerigan raid, unless they change the gear as you're leveling, which I don't see them doing. I think they're just going to add new gear for Nomerigan, and that's going to be it. So be sure to get into Black Fathom as much as you can, pick up as much gear as you can. It will make your leveling journey a lot faster and a lot easier as we're moving into phase 2. Also, PvP, you know, just getting into the Ashenvale battles, make sure that you are exalted with Warsong Gulch before you go into phase 2. I think it'll be harder to get exalted after phase 1 is over, but especially for Warlock tanks, this is going to be an epic set of bracers you can get, you know, as soon as you hit level 40 if you're already exalted with Warsong. So there's also other gear that you can pick up in here. I mean, if you're having trouble with gear, I mean, you know, this staff isn't going to be horrible if you don't have a better weapon. But spell power is going to be everything for Warlock tanking, because same way as in phase 1 where our Searing Pain is 7 levels old in phase 1, in phase 2 it will be 6 levels old. So it's still going to be on the weaker side of our spells, and that's our main threat generator, right? On Searing Pain. So spell power is going to be huge. So if you make it to level 40 and you already have all the gear from Black Fathom, increasing your spell power or even just fire damage on the pieces where you need to get just fire damage, that's going to be a huge help for your threat. Then also there's going to be the Lorekeeper's Ring will be pretty good. The Caretaker's Cape is kind of, you know, kind of horrible because it's only healing done, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. But still, the Lorekeeper's Ring will be pretty good. So already having all of these unlocked, being able to just upgrade them when you hit 28, you know, that's going to be a really big advantage. Now granted, the bracers you won't get until you get to 40, but this is going to be a really good jump on your raid gear for phase 2 for Nomerigan. So be sure to try and get your reputation up with Warsong Gulch before phase 2 drops. You're running out of time. I think we've got about 2 weeks right now. So if you haven't done it already, be sure to work on that. And if you have the problem like me where you're an altaholic, I mean, now's the time to pick a character to focus on. And you may notice I have a little bit of a problem focusing on one character myself. So, you know, I don't know what to say. I'm guilty of it. Either way, though, that's all I've got for you today. I just wanted to talk about the Warlock. I'm more excited about the Warlock than I am about the Mage at this point. So, if I missed anything, be sure to leave it in the comments. Leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that. And I'll see you in the next one.